Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Plenty of drama here at Major 1 to dive into today. We've got Clayster versus Kenny, but also with the Los Angeles Guerrillas getting outshone so far by their Academy roster, is it only a matter of time until some, if not all of the Academy team ends up on the starting roster instead? Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Plenty to dive into. Firstly, this was confirmed yesterday, the official watch party host for Major 1. So the plan is here, at least for the majors. I don't exactly know what the situation is just for regular qualifiers, but for the majors there's going to be watch parties. I think like 400 people applied according to Daniel Sign. In the future they want to expand this, but yeah, there were a lot of applications and only a few got selected. There were a few interesting omissions. I don't know about like Karma, because I think like people were talking, okay, some of the OpTic guys, TP's on here, but yeah, there was no Karma. I thought was kind of interesting. So anyway, these are the guys that are officially allowed to watch party it. Pretty cool stuff, but still the restrictions now seem a bit more strict than they were before in the first few weeks. As I say, not exactly sure what the state is just for regular qualifiers, whether it's still kind of a free-for-all like it was before. And yeah, he did mention they're going to try and expand this team of watch partiers over time, but still pretty cool stuff that this is finally actually a thing. So let's dive into the matches that I didn't quite get to cover last night. I'm pretty sure I talked about 14 matches in last night's video, which has certainly been the most that I've ever discussed in a CDL video, because we just haven't done this kind of multi-stream thing since the CDL's been around. I mean, look, people were talking about, wow, that's really hard to keep up with, which is true, but I mean, look, then again, you go back a few years to the MLG days, like, you know, this is happening every single time there was an event. So I think two series I didn't quite get to cover in yesterday's video, one of which was FaZe versus Surge, and well, we'll see that result in a second. Also Thieves versus eLLeY. Pretty sloppy series from Thieves, but eLLeY played really well. They could have won this series. They were close to winning the control. They were close to winning the game for hardpoints, and pretty impressive. Like, eLLeY took Thieves, the world champions, this tight in a series. I'm hoping they can do some damage today in the losers bracket game. We'll see the statistics and of course the way that should play out in terms of the bracket here in a couple of seconds. But the amateur teams have been very impressive so far. Expected in some ways, just because they play more COD than the pros at the start of the season. They play more tournaments, they play more matches, and just in general, the fact that the pros and no one really has figured out the game yet means that the amateurs can probably be more competitive to the pros now than they will be in a few months' time. But nonetheless, some of these amateur teams are basically pro level players that have either been in the Pro League in the past or have been very close and are now down there in Tier 2. Just shows that, you know, 16-team league would be rather nice. Probably not going to happen there, let's be honest here. As unfortunate as it is, this then, the FaZe series, this was a hot 3-0. And this is interesting to me because FaZe struggles to get past Los Angeles Guerrillas Academy. They went Game 5 with them and won the Game 5. Surge, they dealt with without too many difficulties. So kind of crazy how that worked out, to be honest. Simp had a great series here. It's surprising not to see Cellium on a graphic for player of the series. And I mean, this is what Cellium was up to here in this control when they ended up winning this game through. But look at Cellium go, man. This is just absolute peak gameplay around, you know, this particular control point. He's just snaking, doing 360s. I mean, this is Cellium gameplay at its absolute finest during the listening. But Cellium, can you believe it, goes negative in this series, a 0.98 KD for Cellium. It was Simp here and really Slasher that was showing up to get this series over the line. But it is, you know, it's just interesting, right? Cellium drops a 1.6 in the other series and they win Game 5, drops a 1.3 the other day and they lose, and then goes 1.0 and they win, like 3-0. So I don't understand what Cellium's stats even are, but he went negative in a series, which is pretty remarkable. Now, the other side is probably more interesting though. So Sib and Pred, again, these guys are doing their all. I mean, look at the damage differential between Sib and Pred, the duo that we know can win events, and their teammate, 5k damage, 4.7k damage. If you look on the other side, the damage differential is really similar pretty much between the FaZe guys. So yeah, I don't know, right? I know that obviously Eggs has talked about it, that this team should have considered changes in the off-season to try and upgrade their roster with other teams doing the same. It's kind of like what Minnesota did, I feel like, going from Cold War to Vanguard. They had a good end of the Cold War season, Minnesota. They won an event, they did well at Champs. They decided not to change anything, and then next year in Vanguard it didn't work out for them. Might be a similar thing here with Surge, where they've got the pieces, but you know, by not making changes where they maybe needed to, they're going to fall short. So getting 3-0'd by FaZe after FaZe went Game 5 with LG Academy makes things very interesting for today's tiebreaker game for the final qualification spot between LG Academy and the Seattle Surge. Very exciting series, especially because Surge's S&D has still been pretty woeful, and that's where the LG Academy have looked rather good so far. Also, there were some cards in play. I'm pretty sure, you know, the very first pack that Clayster had, he got his own card, which I thought was kind of cool here. So if you guys are at the venue, you might be able to pick these up, or not exactly sure where they are, but pretty cool stuff nonetheless. And Nameless just chucks the Clayster card aside, which I thought was kind of funny. Now, speaking of Clayster, this was the kind of clip I showed you guys guys last night. I wasn't really sure what the backstory of this was, because I was a little bit surprised that Kenny and the other guys were going so hard against Vegas. Now, in fairness, this was a reverse sweep from the Thieves guys. It went down 2-0 against Vegas, came back and won. But as Kenny says, I don't ever stand up and talk trash, but doing it up 2-0 and losing is nuts. So apparently Clay on the other side, after going up 2-0, had stood up and talked trash on the Thieves guys, and then it kind of backfired a bit, right? As Drazah says, I thought you said I wasn't winning. So unfortunately, I don't have a clip of Clayster saying this, but apparently he stood up and was like, yeah, you guys aren't winning this, something. And then as he says the replies, I thought you weren't going to win. Turns out got reverse swept. Unfortunate, but Vegas stay alive. They took down Boston to get into the tiebreaker game. And as I say, we'll see all the schedule here in a second, because there are a lot of games coming up today as well. Good for Clay as well. Finally won a LAN match, as he says, since the kickoff last year, the first one he's won. So, you know, good to see. Hopefully Vegas make it out of the group. And if they do, I think they play Elevate, right, to make it out of the group. And if they do beat Elevate, though, I think they play FaZe round 1, so not ideal, but who knows what's going to happen there, right? Vegas have looked pretty good. Like TJ and Prolute might just be Lanimals. They've turned up so far this weekend, and that they're going to need to for sure if they want to win the rest of the weekends. Clay realizing it's pretty unfortunate that Boston had to play with a substitute. Of course, Beans had to step into the team, and even as Method says, don't even have the words. Thanks, Beans, for filling in. And yeah, hopefully Awakening feels better soon. But yeah, look, they're going to have to come different in their next event at the Boston kind of major in a couple of months' time in early February. Quick note on Scrappy, we do have a longer video of what happened last night after the OpTic series here. So even Standy says, you know, welcome to the club. People chanted, screw you, Scrappy, let's say. And Scrappy says, I want it louder next time around. And this was kind of the after the OpTic series moment, where we saw a clip of this yesterday. So kind of talking to the crowds here. And then he doesn't really say too much against the OpTic guys or anything. Obviously, a pretty dominant series in Toronto's favour. But OpTic are still looking okay. They have a rematch against Florida to make it out of their pool. And like they beat Florida yesterday, game 5, round 11. I think that OpTic will feel like they should have won that series more convincingly. I think it often comes down to the game 2 search and destroy for OpTic in general, but also for Florida, right? Like if Florida lose game 2, it's very rare they're going to be able to pull anything off and win 2 respawns in a row, especially if they've lost game 1. So I think that's the key for OpTic going into tonight's game. But to me, the spiciest storyline of the day is what is going on with the Los Angeles Guerrillas. So they did manage to win a series, a 3-0, pretty impressive, up against Decimate Gaming. That's 2 Reals team from the Challenger side and the team that Parasite coaches, but it wasn't a very impressive victory. They won game 1 here 250 to 233. Like it wasn't a blowout by any means. The game 2 search and destroy. I mean, look at this clutch as well from Spart. This is one of the most stupid clutches I've ever seen in my life. So he's in a 1 versus 3, up 3-1 in the search, fair enough. So he gets the first kill, fries the second guy as well, so fair play, okay, kills Hollow, and then Mack is in the 1 versus 1. So there's 12 seconds on the clock at this point. All Spart has to do is stop the bomb getting defused. 12 seconds left. He gets into this gunfight against Mack, gets away with his life. So at this point, there's 9 seconds left on the clock. There's no way you lose this round if you just stand still. For some reason, he runs out with his knife, dies, 8.3 seconds, and Mack doesn't get to the bomb in time. He gets to the bomb at like 7.4, and the bomb explodes, and Spart wins the 1v3. But, like, I have no idea what was going through his head at that point. Like, he was so lucky not to have just thrown around in the most ridiculous way possible. So, even that, like, didn't impress me, to be honest. So, they won this series 3-0. RC's 1.43. Okay, the KDs look kind of nice. But this was against the weakest team in the entire bracket play, I would say, in Decimate Gaming. They got pretty much fried all day. Especially because the Decimate Gaming team, okay, they got 3-0 here by LAG, but they got absolutely demolished by the Minnesota Rokkr. Like, this was the Rokkr's performance against Decimate Gaming. That was a far more dominant series, and the KDs look in their favour, right? So I'll just share a clip here from the flank last night before we look at how LAG got up against the subliners, because that wasn't good either. When Pat basically says, like, these guys are straight up recruit bots, saying that New York got a free warm-up series against recruit bots, and suggesting that subbing in their academy team for their main roster has got to be the way to go.
Let's also not forget, though, Ben. Let's also not forget. Huge catalyst. They literally shot bots round 1. Insane confidence booster for them. They got the best matchup I think they could have asked for.
You think that plays a big factor?
Bots.
Massive. They literally showed up first series, shot some recruit bots, and just, yeah, they just were full steam ahead after that.
He's cooking
they just got the confidence
no, he's cooking.
rolling.
Are you cooking Rokkr? Or are you cooking LAG? Because they played.
Oh, wait, actually, they did play LAG.
No, he's cooking. He's cooking Rokkr. Right, he's cooking LAG right now.
No, he's cooking LAG. Yeah.
I mean, bro.
Yes,
yeah, because LAG got smoked today. I mean, NYSL looked great. I mean, 2 3-0s today. I mean, they're going on to brackets with ease. They look good.
I pulled up the LAG stats. I saw 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. I was like, damn.
They do have a problem with slaying power. I mean, I feel like they just have to focus on their kills a little bit.
But I think the real problem here is if the LAG Academy team makes it to the bracket, LAG just needs to put their pro team in challengers and their academy team in the pro league.
Yeah, we
their
were talking
academy
about
team
on
look
stream
good.
because it's like, what do? You paid all that money, ideally to get out.
I mean, look,
Yeah.
you just say, hey, I've made horrible management decisions. I need a team who can shoot, and you take the team who can shoot.
But I mean, Ben makes a good point. They invested a lot of money into that team, bro.
And they have to recontract everybody. They're in an interesting spot. I think let's see what happens through the weekend. But I like.
Yeah, they have another day tomorrow.
So this was that nice little warm-up series that kind of aBeZy is alluding to there, with New York Subliners taking down LAG 3-0 and just completely curb stomping them, right? And the LAG Academy have been far more impressive than the LAG starting team. Now, it may work out that LAG get through to the bracket and LAG Academy don't, but I've been more impressed by the Academy so far. Assault, of course, as their AR, DiamondCon there, Exceed and Joe Thieves. They've been impressive. And the SMGs in Neptune and Huke have, like, not impressed me at all on this LA Guerrillas team so far, and I would not be surprised at all if after this tournament, one of Exceed, Joe Thieves, if not both, find themselves in this team. DiamondCon's there as well. The thing is with the Arcitys and Spart thing, they've paid a lot of money for these guys and have them on 3-year contracts. You're not going to job Arcitys anyway. Spart hasn't been great so far either, but like, I don't know what they're going to do after this tournament. I would not put it past LAG at all to make some serious alterations and bring some of those academy guys into the starting lineup. The issue is that if you do that over time, generally the pros get more comfortable, and I think Neptune and Huke will improve with the game's life cycle, but you know, can you deny the fact that the LAG Academy are straight up looking better right now than the starting team? And yeah, being called recruit bots is pretty harsh words, even from Patrick Ake's Price. Quick update as well from Parasite here, because he mentions that he's actually going to be subbing in for a European team in Challengers. Haggy does it all, man. He does the flight, coaches a team, subs in for Eric, Boom, Weeman, and Maple. Furious unfortunately had some issues, so he's going to be playing in the Challenger tournament, which starts today, which is pretty cool. That's going on the side as well. And that's the cool thing as well. Like, even Decimate Gaming, they got knocked out of the group stages. They made it through into the groups with the pros. They got bopped out, but they still get to play the Challenger tournament this weekend, so that's pretty cool as well. So their weekend is not over just yet. Let's talk about the games that are going on today then. So these are the full pools as it stands, with 4 qualification matches left to happen. So Rokkr versus Guerrillas, I would say Minnesota to be clear favourites here. New York demolished this pool, to be honest, but the second team will go through it as the second seed. Minnesota LAG. All these games begin later today than usual. Yesterday started at 1:30 Eastern. These games all start at 4:30 Eastern, so much later than usual. OpTic versus Mutineers in the second group to determine who goes through there. I think that OpTic should be favoured there. Surge, LAG Academy. This is very interesting because LAG Academy have gone game 5 with every team they played. And if they go game 5 here against Surge, I think they'll win, to be honest, based on the search and destroy of Surge. So I'm going to take LAG Academy to win this one in a cool upset because I'd love to see a Challengers team make it through to the bracket. It'll be a great story. They've done very well so far. Hopefully this is the team to do it. I'm not quite sure that Elevate will. They did go game 5 with Breach and their search and destroy is good. I think they're honestly not too far behind where Legion are, but I want to just favour Legion slightly. If TJ and Prolix can still turn up, I'm going to take them, but yeah, tough to call. So those are the 4 qualification games. They all happen simultaneously again at 4:30 Eastern, and then after that we have our 8 teams confirmed into the bracket, and I believe at that point they've got to play some other games. I believe there's 8 games going on tomorrow, so 4 of them are those 4 qualification games and elimination games at the same time that happen today at 4:30 Eastern, and then I'm guessing at 6 Eastern they start the bracket. So I don't exactly know how they're doing this because I can't imagine they're going to do the 4 games separately all in a row. They might do 2 at a time. They might have Alpha Bravo stream for the winners bracket round 1 games. I'm not exactly sure, and then the day is relatively short, or like or I don't know what they're planning to do. They might have 3 sets of games is kind of what I'm saying for tonight. Not exactly sure what the schedule's going to be because it doesn't even say on the website right now, but very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Literally, one spawns like by the stables and the other one's by the staircase.
Yeah, it's more of a game of like surprise.
It's like Mercado spawns. I don't know why we don't just spawn them on the left side of the map and the right side of the map like we used to, but...
Well, Joe, we're always trying to be creative and look for new ways to confuse our players.
I think we should add bots, some AI to it.
Yeah, no. Got to win the stronghold to get the bomb down. What a round.
Yeah, you see where the spawns are? It's like, why? You think they just like threw a dart at the map?
Yeah, no, probably involved the dartboard and bottle of Jack. But as Breach go up 1-0,